Charlotte, and I was born at 5:15 a.m. on October 26, 2050. When I was born, my parents didn't ask the doctor if I was a boy or a girl or if I was healthy. Instead, they asked, "What's the number?" The room braced for the doctor's answer. My parents held each other close, both openly crying as they prayed for good news. "Her number is," started the doctor, flipping my right wrist over and reading the black numbers that spread across it. 032310232109. My parents cried in relief. I would have a good life. I had a good number. You see, in my world, everyone is born with a 12-digit number on their right wrist. What does the number mean exactly? Well, the number gives us the day we die. We don't know how we'll die, but we will, at that exact time. Think of it like the expiration date on a jug of milk. After the expiration date, you throw away the milk, right? Well, that is what the marks on our wrists mean. We obviously don't get thrown away in the trash, but we cease to exist after that date. And just like that jug of milk buried in some landfill, we too will be buried in the ground. My number is 032310232109. I will die at 3:23 p.m. on October 23rd, 2109. I will live to be exactly 59 years old. I have a good number. It isn't the best. My brother's going to live to be 88, but my parents couldn't believe it when the doctor read out his number aloud. He will live 29 years longer than me. He will see so much more than me, experience so much more than me. He might even live to see his great-great-grandchildren. I'll be lucky to see my grandchildren. Sometimes I get jealous when I see his number, but this is my life. I can't change my number. It's permanent. Medicine, money, and miracles do not change a number. You can certainly die earlier than your number, but to die after is rare. People just tend to be more careful. After all, when you're constantly walking around with a literal reminder of your time left on Earth on your wrist, you tend to appreciate the life you have just a little bit more. I have a good number. I'm reminded of this when I see other people's numbers. The first time this happened was when I was 5 years old. On my first day of school, I had never really interacted with any other kids other than my older cousins. I was nervous, so when recess was called, I decided to go to the swings. Anyone who likes swings as much as me, well, they were cool in my book. On my way to an open swing, a wild boy with a dinosaur shirt and brown eyes full of mischief performed a backflip off the swings and nearly knocked me over in his crash landing. He jumped up, dusted off his pants, and smiled at me, saying, "My name's Devin, and I'm going to live to be 57. It was such a typical kid way of introducing themselves. Adults tended to be more secretive of the numbers, wearing watches or long-sleeve shirts to cover up their numbers, but 5-year-olds, we didn't understand the concept of subtlety, clearly. Another body quickly landed next to him, this one thankfully on their feet. It was a red-haired girl with 2 perfectly braided pigtails. "My name's Fiona, and I'm going to live to be 62. A third body landed next to her. He stumbled a bit on his landing, and his glasses fell down the bridge of his nose as he found his balance. "Hi, I'm Oscar." He smiled, shaking his long brown hair out of his eyes as he pushed his glasses up his nose. I'm going to live to be 17. Mind you, we were in kindergarten. We were literally learning our ABCs, how to tie our shoes and zip up our coats, but the concept of numbers, that we didn't need to learn. Our parents made sure we knew what our number was, and what their number was, and what Grandma's number was, and what our sisters' numbers were. Numbers were literally ingrained into our minds, much like the literal numbers that adorned our wrists. Which meant, even at 5 years old, I knew that Oscar had a bad number. It must have showed on my face because a boy I didn't even know, hugged me, and as he squeezed me, he said, "It's okay." My 2 dads say that 17 is plenty of time. They said it isn't about how high your number is, but it's about what you do with the number you get. Looking back now, as an adult thinking about having my own child, I'd probably say the same thing if they were born with a bad number. What else can you do? You can't change the number. You can't give your child more time no matter how much you wish you could take the numbers off your wrist and place them on theirs. You just can't. Your job as a parent is to protect your children, but you can't protect them from the inevitable, so instead you give them something else. Oscar's dads gave him hope. They were great people. I grew close to them as we progressed through school because obviously Oscar, Fiona, Devin, and me, we became best friends after that day on the swings. We called our group the Swingers, much to the embarrassment of our parents. We didn't understand why they didn't like our group nickname when we were young, but we finally understood when we were 15, and thanks to the internet, we learned exactly what swingers were. But even after learning the sexual nature of our group nickname, we still kept it, because honestly, what teenager doesn't like humiliating their parents? Charlotte, where are you going? It's late. My mother yelled after me as I ran through the door to our house. Dad said I can go to Oscar's house. And what will we be doing at Oscar's house? God, Mom, we're just having a swinger party. Can I go now? The look of embarrassment on my parents' face was always perfect, especially in public. Oscar's house became the hangout spot for the four of us, mostly because his dad's had an awesome basement, and his dad, Jerry, was a professional chef, which meant we ate really good there. Back to his dads. They were awesome. They adopted Oscar when he was just an infant. His mother gave him up when she saw his number. It was an epidemic in our world. Foster homes were full of children with bad numbers. But Oscar's dads, they didn't see his number. They just saw Oscar. Came so close to the actual date on our calendar. Oscar was the school's valedictorian. He stayed late after school. He studied well into the night. He worked hard. So hard that his dedication to his studies really got in the way of swinger time. One day, after another late night of not seeing Oscar because he was studying for a chemistry test, I yelled at him. "It's just a goddamn chemistry test, Oscar. If you get a B, it won't be the end of the world." He barely blinked an eye at my outburst. Instead, much like that day in front of the swings, he pulled me into a hug. "This is the only time I have to be great," he said. "I don't get anything after this. So if this is all I get, I'm going to be the best." And he did. He became the best. A 4.0 grade average, an SAT score of 1560, and he never filled out a single college application. Oscar took accelerated courses so that he could graduate before his number came up. The school planned a graduation ceremony just for him the day before his number. His dads and his extended family filled the stands. The rest of his class sat in the chairs, the very same chairs they will soon fill in a couple of weeks when the class of 2067 would all walk together. The principal called out Oscar's name and he stepped up to the microphone. Oscar cleared his throat in front of the microphone, gathering everyone's attention. "Thank you for everyone who came today. It means a lot to me. Very much like my life, I'm going to keep this speech short." Gasps echoed through the gym and Oscar smiled. "That was not meant to be a joke. Please don't think that I'm making light of the fact that tomorrow is my number. Instead, I say that I'll keep this speech short because I think the world tends to greatly underestimate the power of something short. My mother gave me up for adoption when I was only 1 minute old. Soon as the doctor read my number, she signed over custody of me to the state. I always wondered, how can I be judged on the quality of my life before I've even taken my first shit?" Laughter echoed through the students. Gasps from the parents and grumbles of disapproval echoed from the teachers and administration, but Oscar just smiled. As he looked back at the principal, he joked, "Feel free to give me a detention this weekend for cussing," earning another chuckle from the students. "She was wrong, by the way," continued Oscar, his gaze going back out to the gym. "Anyone who ever stared at my number and looked at me with sadness, you were wrong. I have lived. Not as long as our parents, and not as long as you all will live, but make no mistake, I have lived. My life may be short, but it doesn't mean that it is any less significant as someone who lived well into their 80s. Taking in a breath, he gave his parents and then the swingers a shady smile. Every second of every day for the past 17 years have been lived to the fullest because simply, I didn't have the time to waste. Every moment of my life is counted, cherished, and loved. Can you say the same thing about yours? Oscar died at 2:13 p.m. on March 16th, 2067. Just like his number said, he lived to be 17. He had a bad number, but he didn't let that define him. Instead, he lived every day like it was the last until his number was called.